Extra, extra, we back with another entry, you damn right. This one pertains to Marcellus Williams, the late but not so great Marcellus Williams. I got reason to believe the brother thought life was a game. Now, I'm not in favor of the death penalty and the system lynching the black man. I'm not in favor of that. But if you Negroes think life is a game, you see that white vehicle right there, that's a hearse. We by the funeral home. That's where your ass gonna be if you think this is a game. You better go read Soul on Ice by Eldridge Cleaver and realize that in the US of A, God's greatest creation, the white man, is the omnipotent administrator. And Marcellus Williams seems like he didn't know that initially. He was probably wasting time before he got locked up. And when you waste time, you get in the shit. And Marcellus Williams slid down a razor blade and landed in an alcohol river. But we gonna go over the facts of his trial. Look at the spot I chose, y'all. The Lubbock Avalanche Journal. Why, Clyde? Why, Jaundice Journal? I chose this exact location for my content because way back in 2001, Marcellus Williams was convicted of stabbing Felicia Gale, a former newspaper reporter. I want to say this real fast. I'm an expert on the black man and how they could be creatures of habit. I say that to say this. A couple of days ago, there was a Lubbock man sentenced to 20 years for the Michael Myers of a young Lubbock woman. She was only 26. You see that right now. I threw it in the content. I'ma say this too. From being an expert on the creature of habit known as the black man, I got reason to believe that Marcellus Williams was a Michael Myers type dope fiend extraordinaire. In the words of Booker T at the WWE, Marcellus Williams was a five-time dope fiend. Five-time dope fiend. He was a five-time dope fiend for these 5 reasons right here, according to the Attorney General. 1, Felicia Gale was unalived and her personal items were found in Marcellus Williams's car. There's 1. 2, a witness testified that Marcellus Williams sold Felicia Gale's laptop to him. There's 2. 3, Marcellus Williams confessed. He told on his damn self. He confessed to an inmate in the St. Louis jail and to his girlfriend. 4, Marcellus Williams, well, this might be 5. Marcellus Williams's woman seen him dispose of the soiled, body fluid covered clothing after he unalived Felicia Gale. If he ain't no 5-time dope fiend, I don't know what he is. Check this out, man. When I told you I was an expert on the North American Negro being a creature of habit, I've seen everything before. From a dope fiend that I showed you at the previous location, unaliving a young sister with a blade, to a dude confessing to jailhouse inmates. This what I mean. I stand on all that. I done seen it all, baby. Jaundice Journal done seen it all here in West Texas. This dude that you looking at now confessed to an inmate that was sentenced to 140 months in the feds. Man, 5 months later, this same inmate got half of their sentence reduced to 70 months. If I'm lying, I'm flying. But yeah, Marcellus Williams ain't nothing but a 5-time dope fiend. It ain't looking good for Marcellus Williams at this moment. So, his family don't want his head to roll from that chopping block. Instead, they would take life in prison. So, the people prosecuting Marcellus Williams reached a deal with him. the Alford plea, where you plead guilty to first degree unaliving and be resentenced from execution to life in prison. But the state attorney general wasn't hearing it, and they appealed to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court was like, nah, we ain't accepting that deal. We don't want nothing to do with it. Proceed with the chopping block. It's cold. Marcellus Williams' defense team didn't have that Michael Jordan buzzer beater in them. They established, a little investigation for 6 years and couldn't come up with any credible evidence that would declare Marcellus Williams is innocent. They couldn't convince any juror. They couldn't convince any judge that Marcellus Williams was innocent. It took them too long. So, on top of being a 5-time dope fiend, you selling the victim's laptop. That's dope fiend shit. On top of self-snitching and all that other stuff, you wasting time. Man, God's greatest creation, the white man, Mike Parsons ain't going for that. He said this administration is finna give closure to the victim's family and to this case that's languished for 2 decades, that's had more than 15 judicial hearings. This administration tired of it. That's according to God's greatest creation, the white man, Mike Parsons, man. He ain't wasting time. Your team got dissolved, and so did the stay of execution, and Mike Parsons will go on with the execution, man. He wanted to proceed with the execution, get the show on the road. I hate it for the brother, but it wasn't ever looking good for you. It just wasn't. Yeah, this the dagger right here, no pun intended. But this the key, so Marcellus Williams' own defense expert testified he could not rule out the possibility that Marcellus Williams' DNA was on the key suit, on the blade. He could only testify that enough actors handled that blade and that everybody else's DNA was on it. So all that contaminating evidence stuff social media doing, y'all heard it from the horse's mouth. Since the show must go on, it took 10 minutes for State Attorney General Andrew Bailey to hit the corrections department and said ain't nothing stopping the execution. That was at 6 p.m. At 6:01, lethal injection was administered to Mr. Marcellus Williams. 9 minutes later at 6:10, Marcellus Williams was no longer. He was unalived himself. It was 100 protesters outside protesting capital punishment and the unaliving of Marcellus Williams. But let that be a lesson to the rest of y'all. Get somewhere and get busy. Be the best at what you do. Yeah. Don't play around with this thing. But this whole scenario sound familiar. It sound like the execution of one Stanley Tukey Williams. I've read and own Blue Rage Black Redemption. You know that, don't you? Yeah. Same thing happened to him. So we gonna get into this 3-drug cocktail that was administered to Stanley Tukey Williams as well as one Marcellus Williams. Read a book, you illiterate son of a, and step up your vocab, or whatever the hell Bun B said. Yeah. On page 347 of Blue Rage Black Redemption, I'm gonna paraphrase the 3-drug cocktail that's administered to a death row prisoner. The first one is sodium thiopental. This puts the death row prisoner in a state of unconsciousness. The next one, pancurium bromide. This is a paralytic agent. It paralyzes you. You can't move. The third, potassium chloride, provokes a massive heart attack. I hope I said these the correct way. This is known as the 3-drug cocktail to prison officials. And this is what took Marcellus Williams' life. So for all y'all on social media on that bandwagon, you probably didn't even know the ingredients to this 3-drug cocktail. But that's what Jaundice Journal is here for. But anyway, this the part of the entry where we part ways. You know what to do. Don't act like you don't. Leave me a comment in the comment section, because you know I value you guys' opinion. After all this evidence and the facts of, the trial, do you still think the state of Missouri lynched a black man? Let me know something. Hit that notification bell to be notified every time we make an entry over here at Jaundice Journal on YouTube. Hit that dislike button if you in favor of dudes getting away with unaliving and Michael Myering people. Hit that like button if you like today's content, and if you learned something. If you learned the Swahili word for blade, kisu. Hit that share button if you want others to know details of Marcellus Williams' trial. I don't mind. As always, subscribe. It's a call to action. Until next time, peace. Put some of this ism in the algorithm.